make it happen or just simply enjoy it. I do want to enjoy the experience just as much as I get frustrated with batteries dying and being drained, and this particular piece of equipment is not living up to what I'd hoped it would do. It's not providing me what I want, or I'm not understanding what it should be doing, or there's just, I'm just not communicating with it and want to drop kick it across the room. But doggone it, I'm going to keep trying. I want to be able to get out there and say, this is it.
I'm the same. I have we are going to Ohio again in June.
Good.
And that's like the number one. It's way up there for me.
Sure.
And I know you were talking about earlier the bigger venues with people interfering with your investigation.
Yes.
And that happened the last time we were in Ohio. And we had a lot of issues with other so-called teams. Like they had their T-shirts on, but they were so loud. And the one team came in, it was mostly guys and one or two girls. And they came in and we were doing an EVP session and they came in and took over.
Oh, sure.
And now the prison has had so many complaints that the level that they think they have 2 or 3 levels now. And on the date that we're going, you have to come with a team, or you have to have investigated that prison at least 3 times now. So I thought if it's going to be different this time around,
right,
maybe it's worth my money instead. And it's so expensive to book a private investigation there.
Oh, yes.
I think it's like $2,500.
It is. I mean, it's become a real cash cow, and that's my other fear, is that we lose sight of what's really going on here. And so many brokers have popped up selling these places for the most part. They're putting out those trips. Here we've got 30 spots available, and that just that drives me nuts. I still look for it on our own. I'll contact the places directly and do that on my own, as opposed to try to do a group. I'm a stickler for that, but I hope you have a great time. I really hope too that makes the changes, so it's worth your while and like you said, your time and your money. I mean, let's be real. But you're putting that investment of all of that into it, and you really like to have the experience.
Yeah, I hope it's a lot different. And in solitary, we were standing down at the entrance, and all the way on the second end upstairs, you could hear somebody talking very loudly.
Right.
And it took me a while to do another public investigation like that. And one of my friends, she's like, hey, do you want to go to this? And I was like, nope, it's public. I won't do another public one.
Right.
All because of what happened there. And I know you're a serious investigator. I try to be. So to go in there and laugh and giggle, I mean, you can have fun.
Oh, sure, absolutely.
But if someone's in a room already investigating and say, hey, can we join you? Or
absolutely.
Do you mind if we come in, instead of just being really loud and obnoxious and come in there and try to take over?
Sure. Walk over your stuff, your place, let's let that para-unity we talk about as well. I think that's also the respect of one another, to say this is your time, we will let you go ahead and take care of your stuff, and then we'll come back later. I mean, it's just a matter of courtesy.
The little one's with me again.
Oh, that's okay. It should be a simple process, but it doesn't always turn out to be that way. I don't understand why we can't have, just general courtesy to each other. Your time and money is no better than mine. So please, give me that chance too. So we will be going to Ohio. I have to look at my little calendar. Well, we're going to do Willow's Weep in March. I have not done that yet. That'll just be me and Marianne, so that should be interesting. But it's a smaller venue, so I'm not too concerned. We're going to be doing Franklin Castle. I got that booked in Ohio, so I'm looking forward to that one as well. That'll be just 4 of us. So I'll
let me let those go.
Pardon?
I've heard a lot of stories about willows weep.
Yeah, that's why I've wanted to give it a shot. And then we're going to go to the we're hitting a few more conferences. We're going to go to the Toledo. I think it's held at the Toledo Yacht Club. I'm looking at my little book here. It's the Midwest Parafest in Toledo, and that is April, first weekend of April. That's Saturday. So we're going to go and say hi. And, you know, we always go to the one Sault Ste. Marie in August. Up at, we just love that one. The Michigan, the Mid-Paracon. That's one of our favorites. The area is just beautiful. We try to make a little mini vacay out of it. So we'll be doing that as well. But we're trying to spread around a little more. And we'll get the name out there too. That helps tremendously with the old jail. A lot of people here at a small venue, and we're not too far. We try to keep it in that tri-state area, so it's not a horrible trip. You know, we've done 3-4 hours easily to go to a place to investigate. Many will do that, so we're looking forward to it. We have a private, well, not private, but our vacation this year. We're going to do. We're heading to New Hampshire. We'll be doing Antietam outside of Gettysburg, which we've never done before. Be tough not to go to Gettysburg. We love Gettysburg. Just love Gettysburg. We did week in Gettysburg last year. But Antietam will be the big part as far as any investigating goes. And then we're going up to upstate New York to where we used to go camping as kids. But it's all kinds of historical forts and all that good stuff. Bigfoot for Marianne. I mean, it's just going to be so much fun. And then we're going up to New Hampshire. So that's going to be like a 10-day, little bigger vacation, if you will, than we've done in quite some time. So we're looking forward to that.
Sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, we're not afraid to do that. And do it as we can. I mean, can't take it with us. So I'd much rather spend it now than tell my kids, I had a lot of fun traveling on your inheritance. So don't be waiting for anything. This is like tax season now. This is when I do my work intensities. So in addition to working full time, I do taxes, and this is my play money. So this is what we book our trips from. Well worth it. Well worth the extra time.
Sorry.
Oh, you okay? It's that gunk that's going around. Everybody has. Oh my goodness, it hurts so much.
I've had the flu the last 2 weeks.
Wow.
Flu, and then I had a little bit of it again. Mm-hmm. And I just can't get rid of the cough. And that's all that's sticking around is that cough.
Sure.
But talking about going on vacation and ghost hunting, I'm going to take the kids somewhere for spring break so they can say, oh, yeah, we went somewhere. Their friends are going to Florida. And, yeah, I can't afford Florida this year. Because Ariana wants to go to Disney World. Caden wants to go to Universal Studios and SeaWorld. I cannot afford that.
Oh, my gosh.
I'm going to try to take them somewhere. And they both said, so are we going to go ghost hunting while we're somewhere? Yeah, we will.
Is that in a good way? Or is that are we going ghost hunting?
And they were like, okay. So.
Well, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool the kids have the attitude that it's all right to do that. I've often joked with mine, you know, thank you for putting up with that. And all those times we dragged you all over the place. And, you know, maybe someday I'll have to pay for your therapy. But you know, for the most part, you guys were all right. And they enjoyed it as well. My youngest son is pursuing his own investigating, if you will. He's down in Lafayette now. So he and his girlfriend are into it. So it's kind of fun to see and hear. I said, we need new spots. Let us know. We want to get around that area. So, you know, hunt them out for us. And yeah, give it a try. So.
I know my oldest, well, you know, Caden, his friend's like, that's so cool. Can I go? And Caden's like, do you really want to go with her? And he's like telling him stories and stuff. And he's like, yeah, I want to go. I said, you're not going anywhere with me unless I have permission from your dad.
Sure. Sure.
So
yeah, it's tough when the kids. Yeah, my kids are good. My youngest is not 29, so yeah, it's tough when we had teenagers, of course, when we started, and a lot of them had questioned, especially my niece, who was the youngest. What was it taking a 16-year-old at the time or 15-year-old to some of these places? Weren't you concerned about her safety? Yeah, we were. We felt we had taken the steps. And then again, we backed up and said, but, if putting a unstable hormonal female in a situation that might raise up paranormal activity, I don't know. Great, honey, just walk up a little further and stay there for a few minutes and let's see what happens. Yeah, we were terrible. But no, we always watched out for their safety, of course. I mean, we never put them in any way, shape, or form in harm's way.
I know I've had some people say, "Oh, Ariana's now 10, and she'll go places." They're like, "Well, she's too young to do this. Aren't you afraid something will happen to her?" And she's like, "No, my mom told me what to do, and she knows what she's doing." And they're like, "Okay, then."
Sure. Yeah. Of course you have to be careful. I mean, it just goes with the territory. Yep. But no different than being in your home than being in a location.
Ours has a couple things here. She said the other night she slept in her room and and her friend spent the night a few weeks ago when they saw a shadow in her bedroom and it knocked on the door. And then the other night she was up there and she saw a shadow cross and something was shaking her bed. I said, "Were you scared?" She goes, "No." She goes, "I just went back to sleep and thought they just want my attention." So.
She's got it. Sounds like she's got a handle on it.
She does. I said, "You weren't scared?" She said, "No, not at all."
Good for her.
She said she's seen a lady in white, and there's a little boy here too. And Xander, with the little 2-year-old that you heard earlier, he was talking about a little boy. He's like, "There's a little boy," and I'm like, if he sees him and Ariana says he's here,
right?
And I've saged and salted the house. And she's like, "Well, Mom, you saged the house a few times." She goes, "So they must be good spirits to stay here and not leave."
Sure. Sure. Interesting though.
She's like, "Can we get your spirit box out and do a session upstairs and see if they'll talk to us?"
Well, I don't know. I like control. Yeah, I like to have a little control on that. Let's not run with it.
On one hand, I want to know. On the other, I don't.
Exactly. I mean, we go looking for it. We don't want to live with it, and that personally. We often joke. I said, my house is never completely dark. I don't, I don't watch the really scary stuff late at night by myself. I mean, I have my limitations as well. But I'll stand in the worst of places looking, with the recorder, trying to get something to talk to me or walk in front of me or let me get a picture of it or at any given time. I just don't want to sleep with it or
Exactly. It's different when it's where you lay your head down at.
I want to have, sleep that's not interrupted, especially with something like that. So yeah, we take those precautions. I do believe in that. I believe in using protection. I have a niece. She lives in Florida. She often gives us advice. She is a white witch in Wicca. I'm not exactly sure what that status is, but she often. I have to say there have been many times that she has called because she has felt something or said, "Now, what are you getting yourself involved with?" Without knowing. We don't give her our itinerary. She doesn't follow us that closely, but I think you need to, to do something, and it may be a little extra protection, or maybe you should rethink your decision to go someplace. Or it's been interesting that she's had those feelings. But
I like that.
Yeah, we did too. I mean, it's nice to have that extra.
It sure is. Regardless
of your faith, what you follow as far as God, religion. We all know that spirits exist. in every religion ever known to man and beyond. To ignore them is ridiculous. But you also have to, I believe, if you believe in the good, there's also the bad. You're going to have to find that balance between the two and how far you're willing or not willing to push and get yourself involved. So we don't, generally delve in anything that's, labeled demonic, which I hate to even bring that up. I just think that's pushed in too many different directions and pulled to make things more exciting or sellable, if you will. It does certainly raise ratings, and that's, not something we're into, but that's a whole nother show.
I agree. I know the last time we talked about the shows and how they kind of are going more towards the demonics for attention.
Sure.
That's more exciting. And I think I had mentioned that I had got some emails that these people said they had demonic negative energy in their houses. I just got another one yesterday from a girl, and she said it has followed her. And she said when she lived in Texas that a team had came in and investigated. And they told her that it was demonic. And now it's supposedly here with her in Indiana. And she's called it a hitchhiking ghost. And I'm thinking she has an attachment, and I'm not sure what it is. And she did send me the information on the team that came in and investigated. So I'm going to get a hold of them and see what their thoughts were on it.
Sure.
Well, my big concern is if they knew this was a negative entity that was attached to her, why didn't they do something about it? That's the whole thing.
Did they just identify it and send her on her way? I mean,
that's what I understand they did.
There's a responsibility that we take when we interact with families.
Yep.
We have to be so cautious not to label things that we ourselves don't understand, to instill in them either fear or false sense of security for something we ourselves are not able to handle or deal with. So, I mean, we really have to be cautious. I like to have a little arsenal of individuals that we can contact. If it goes the wrong way, I want to talk to somebody about this. I want somebody else in there. I don't want to harm these people in any way, but we can, unwittingly, we can harm them. And it's a terrible responsibility. Some people think, we do this lightly. No. If I can't, not even just find the answer. Yes, of course, there's always that excitement over somebody else's fear. But yes, when you step into these, you're hearing these stories and you're thinking, oh my gosh, I would like to see, witness. I would love to be sitting in a kitchen where the cupboard doors are flying open and shut and seeing that for myself. Mine has not been that expansive. Mine has been more subtle. My experiences have not been, the movie quality, but I would love to step into something like that. I'd probably have to change my underwear, but I mean, we would like to see it, So when some of them are describing these things, you're thinking, yes, there is some excitement at the onset. And you have to keep that in check. You really have to keep that in check because you don't want to encourage false positives, in any direction with them. So it's a huge responsibility. But, you think, well, why do you do it? I said, well, again, growing up with it and being scared was no fun. And I know there are more people now obviously open to it and we can talk to them about it. And you hope you hit somebody that actually cares about it, not just, trying to make that, I might, my name might be given someplace or I might show up in an article no, that's not the case. We genuinely like to make them comfortable. And if sharing the experiences helps them, if we can document it for them and say, you know what, you're not crazy. This is really going on. This is what's happening. And then we can direct them, give them some place to go with it. So that's why we do it. Yeah, but demonic is wow, that is such a touchy subject because it is, like I said, it is just a huge responsibility to label something that, and then you can really scare somebody to the point of them hurting themselves or their family or neglecting themselves or their family in trying to deal with that. So
I agree.
Yeah.
And if you have something that bad, it's your responsibility to help them take care of it and
Exactly.
get rid of it. Oh, well, this is what we found. So good luck. Have a great
day. See ya.
Yeah.
Thanks for the video.
Yeah. Thanks for letting us come check it out.
Sure.
I just really don't know what to say about that, where they didn't take care of it for her. And now she's lived in Texas. She's lived in California, and now she's in Indiana. Mm-hmm. And this thing has followed her. So by it following her, I know it's attached to her, and it's not a Texan native. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I can't even say whether it really is demonic or not, because she has a video. So I want to see the video. I want to contact the other team, and then maybe it was a really angry spirit. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You know, we have those, and I'm really curious about this, because
you have to go into it with an open mind, which is tough too, because knowing it and not be led entirely by her accounting. You have to come in with your own thoughts, formulate your own opinion, and then work to try to come to that resolution. So it's hard. It's hard. It's a dedication.
And then if it is that kind of attachment, then I have some people I can call.
Sure.
One of the ladies out of around Goshen here, mm-hmm. She said, if you need our help, we're here. And I met at a conference. She introduced me to the demonologist that they work with.
Sure.
She said, if I ever need anything, to get a hold of him. You met him too. It's Brad.
Oh, yes. Yes.
In South Bend. Yeah. Mm-hmm. He said, if I ever need anything, to let him know.
Of course.
And so at least I have other people that are going to support me.
Right.
If it is that way, and I have others I can call. And I think that's a necessity in this field, that if you can't handle it, you need to have someone else that you can call and say, hey, can you help me out here?
That's our support group.
Yep.
Yeah, it's definitely our support group. I mean, we have to have that circle.
We do. We really, really do.
Mm-hmm.
And
we're just not pretty faces and cameras. You have to have that. You have to have the whole package thing, but we do have to rely on other people to help bring it home here.
And I think that's a big thing too, is that you need to work with other people, get to know them, get to know their team, because some people you don't click with, some you do, and you mm-hmm. can know who you can count on.
Right.
And like, I really like you guys. And then I talked to Liz with Michiana Paranormal a lot, and it's Kina with Sacred Crows who I'm talking about.
Right.
I talked to her quite a bit. And then, it's local people. Then I have friends that are far away. But mm-hmm. it's basically a support group.
It is. Yeah.
It sounded bad, but sorry, had to cough again.
Oh, you're fine. You're fine.
So I think supporting each other and helping each other out is a great thing.
Yes. Yeah, it has to. And I think it has to be.
I do too. Is there anything else you'd like to tell anyone about the jail or what you do?
Oh my goodness. I think we pretty much covered the whole gamut of what's available there. Just a reminder that the jail itself, even though the museum has been closed, they closed from December to March. They'll be opening again soon. That hasn't stopped the paranormal stuff. We do that all the time, regardless of their shutdown. But the museum will be open, so anybody that's interested can actually come see the jail. It's a free walkthrough during the day. Now, they don't talk paranormal. They'll refer you to us if, be that as it may. They won't, they certainly don't want to scare any children or anything that are around, but because we do limit it age-wise. But they will let you walk through and you can check it out, and they can see exactly where they can come later or at a different time and investigate. So that's another pretty cool aspect of the old jail. But
I absolutely
stay busy.
I absolutely love it there. People probably think I'm crazy for saying that. I love going to the jail.
Often I tell my son, well, I'll be at the jail tonight, or you can catch me here, and they laugh because if they tell their friends, Mom's at the jail, and forget, well, excuse me.
They're like, she's in jail again? Oh, no, she's just going there to talk to dead people.
I'm not sure that sounds better or not, but yes, indeed.
That's what Caden likes to tell people. Oh, no, my mom's going to the jail just to talk to dead people. No big deal.
It's a good attitude. It's a good attitude.
He did. This is kind of funny. I have to tell this story on him. It's been a couple of years ago. I'm looking up our events that we're going to have together in October. He actually took my story, my first experience at the prison in Ohio. He said, oh, I have to tell Mom what I did today. I was like, oh, God, what did you do? He goes, I scared a bunch of seniors. And he's a freshman now, so it was in 7th or 8th grade.
Oh, he must have loved that. And he
told them, and he scared them. And he's like, I told him you were attacked by a demon. And he really, really embellished on what attacked me. He goes, I scared them. I said, were they picking on you or anything? He goes, no, they were just talking. And I told him what happened to you. Because the first time I was there, I was attacked by something. It felt like it was trying to get inside of me. Wow. And I couldn't breathe, and I had a panic attack. So he told that part and added to it.
Isn't that great? He must have felt really good about scaring the seniors, though.
Yeah. I was like, all right, then. You're a brave kid. But I know we talked about this, and we went ahead and scheduled it for anyone that's interested. Our ghost tour and our paranormal investigations in October.
Yes.
October 6th and October 27th. Whoever's interested, you can get tickets on Eventbrite. You will do a ghost tour with Greg, see all of the ghostly places in Warsaw, and you will do an investigation at the jail. And you will also do an investigation at a local cemetery that also has had cryptid sightings. The girl is still contacting me that there are Sasquatch in the area. And she sent me a picture, and I really couldn't see what it was. But she sent me, she's heard wood knocks, and she's heard howls.
Great.
And her mom has heard them. Her dad has heard them. So that's a nice long day there. Yes. A lot of investigating. So, but that's not.
We're looking forward to having you guys do that split too. Come on over to the jail and
warm up.
Sure. Yeah, it sounds like fun. Yeah, we're going to do that a couple of weekends, right?
October 6th and the 27th.
Right.
Yeah.
Sounds like a good time.
So I'll be at the jail 4 times this year.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. Hold on.
Yeah, we look forward to that. And it's just, how many, 8 months away? Hey! Can't believe we're talking about Halloween and October. And so we haven't gotten past the cold, wet, whatever this is, winter happening.
I know. Our spring, winter. Our winter, spring.
Crazy.
I know. We'll be there March 10th. And then September 8th. And then those weekends in October. I'm really curious. The one reason I wanted to do one in the kind of springy winter time compared to the fall is to see if things change. If different people, if we contact different people, or see what we can find out. Maybe, I don't know, like if they're more active in the spring or more active in the winter, or if they come. Does that make sense?
It absolutely makes sense. Absolutely.
So I'm kind of curious how it would compare.
Sure.
And maybe, I know, like we talked about the girl that was killed. Is she more active during the spring or the winter? The one guy that hung himself.
Right.
When's he more active? Does he come around more often? Does he talk more or interact more with people, or does she? She's always active. I'm not worried about her at all.
She seems extremely social. Yes, regardless of the
She's a social
butterfly. Yes.
So, but yeah, I'm looking forward to this year.
Yeah, we're looking forward to having you guys.
Well, thanks.
Yeah.
I know we stopped at some questions last time because we ran out of time, but I do have some more questions for you.
Okay.
We talked about, I think we ended with the demonic the last time.
Right.
I don't know if we hit this one, but have you ever seen a UFO, black-eyed children, anything that's not a ghost spirit or a cryptid like a Sasquatch or a dogman or a Mothman?
I think we touched upon it a little bit before we had that other technical difficulty, and we spoke when we were young teenagers. My sister had a house up in Maine, and there was a Mount Chase up there. We had experienced what we thought was UFO. Well, we didn't know what it was. Lights in the sky. But then again, you are up in Maine. But this was in the summertime, so we're not talking the Northern Lights or anything like that. And it was those were the days when we actually take sleeping bags and hoof it up the mountain and stay up there. They had some lean-tos along the way, and amazing how we didn't get ourselves eaten or killed, because we're talking, this is the middle of nowhere. There's bear and moose and all the wild animals. But what fun times we had. But yeah, we had experienced that. We didn't find out until now my sister passed several years ago, but we'd gone up for the funeral, and her oldest son, we had strange family age differences. My oldest sister was 23 years older than I was, so she was married and had 2 children before I was born. So my nephew is older than I am. And we were talking, and we were talking about Mount Chase. And he had found out that there were, lots of things apparently reported up and around that area around that time that, I guess they wouldn't want to tell us as kids because it probably would have scared us anyway. But that's the closest I can honestly say as ever in having an experience to that extent. I've never had a run-in with black-eyed children. The whole concept kind of enthralls me a bit. It's scary, it's creepy, but definitely intriguing. I do like Dave Weatherly's books, part of SOS with Dave Spinks. But no, I've never encountered that. That's about, I can say it's about as far as I've gone. Anything outside of paranormal, our side of paranormal, if you will, with ghosts and spirits.
Yeah, I've always, I think I do remember that. I shared that I had seen a UFO down at Revenant Acres.
Exactly, right. That's right. Sure.
Yep.
Sure.
And
I think we just briefly touched on that when we started having the issues with the technology.
I'm always having issues with this technology.
Some way, somehow.
But yeah, we were going to investigate. Have you ever been there?
Yes, we did. 3 of us did that. Just 3 gals. That's kind of a out of the way place. And my gosh, don't try to find it after dark off the side of the road. That's what the restroom has to run down to the next town.
Yeah, that's what we talked about earlier. But yeah, I like that you can make a bonfire there and you can camp out. And they just need a potty.
That would make things so much easier.
But, yeah, we were outside and something came over the roof of the house behind me and went over and just poof, disappeared. No sound, no nothing. It was like huge, just a ball of light that looked like an orb.
Wow.
And it was quite interesting. I was like,
yes.
Did I really see that? I was the only one that saw it that night.
That's fascinating.
When you were there, I know they had a possession upstairs. It's on their website.
Yes.
Did you have a lot of activity? We had more activity outside than we did inside.
When we went, it was still cold. So we spent more time indoors. It was when it was comfortable. And there was just the three of us. There's, like I said, three gals. So we weren't into the big bonfire thing outside either. We had more activity on the stairs than any other place in the house. With the exception of that one front room, I remember we had issue with the piano bench, items moving, because we went ahead and set up our equipment, and then we ran into town to get something to eat, just let stuff run. And some of it had been disrupted while we were gone, and of course we were a little concerned because you're out in the middle of no place. And but we checked, a couple of cameras had been knocked over, just like displaced, if you will. I mean, it wasn't like somebody had come in and I don't know, it was just strange. So we were careful to try to check that footage. Didn't really catch anything but some noises we couldn't explain. But then we had a lot of activity, like I said, up and down the stairs. And nothing that was phenomenal, but enough to keep us obviously interested. And when we got home, we had some growling. It caught on tapes and on our audio. We had some growling noises, which we couldn't explain either because we were all in the house. We didn't see visible signs of anything that could have done that as far as an animal goes. From what I believe, we had it pretty well locked down, so nothing was in there with us that we were, not a flesh and blood animal. But we definitely had light issues going on and off, battery drain, the EMF detectors going off on the stairs, and the REM pods. So, I mean, we had that was where it was concentrated for us. But we didn't have anything super negative happen, which kind of grateful for in some respect. But it was still an interesting run.
We had, when we were doing our walkthrough, and they were telling us where stuff was at and pointing out the cameras that we would be videotaped for security.
Sure.
We were sitting there. I was sitting like across from the stairway, and you could hear somebody walking up and down the stairs.
Yes, we had.
Yep, I heard that.
Had footsteps as well.
And then the room right above us is where the guy got possessed. And when we were upstairs in that room, I said, if I count, we had the K2 down. I said, if I count, will you tell me your age? I got to 7. I said, are you 7? And it lit up. And it didn't hit me till after we left that the spirit that possessed that guy would say, I am 7.
Oh, right. Yes.
I was like, it didn't.
Sure.
I was like, okay, did they think I was asking, are you this entity?
Right.
Or are you 7 years old?
Right.
They answered yes when I got to 7.
How interesting. Sure. Sure. Yeah, I remember that accounting of it. Sure.
So I thought that was pretty interesting. And it was only in that room that happened. And that's about all the excitement we had. Clarissa, really good pictures out front. It looks like a lady standing there in an old, long white dress with the collars that came up around your neck and that buttoned up in the front. When you zoom in, you can see the buttons. And then she got, I don't know what it is. It is a reddish brown mist back behind the house in the cornfield.
Okay.
And it's only in one photo.
Oh, interesting. Huh. Yeah, I couldn't say we had much of anything outside. We did take pictures all around the house, but nothing came up. Yeah, all of ours was inside. Anything we experienced was inside. But, interesting place.
And if you go on the North American Dogman Project's website, there's an account of it's Indianapolis police officer sees Dogman, I think.
Okay.
You can, they've changed it, and you just click on the little like red tap looking thing for Indy, and it brings up a story about an officer seeing a dog man, and that's at Revenant Acres.
Oh, cool. I'll have to check that out.
And
yeah.
Before Duncan left, we had been talking about that, and he told me he saw this really huge wolf. Him and Scott were sitting there, and they had seen this really big wolf, and he turned his spotlight on it, and it didn't scare it. And he said, we don't have wolves in Indiana. And then another night, he had seen something standing up on its hind legs with eye shine looking over the soybeans back there.
Oh, wow.
So if you look on their website,
I'll have to check that out.
So that was quite interesting.
Yes.
So you can imagine me looking around all night when we're outside. Oh, that's bad because you're investigating. You know, if something like that would have shown up, I'd been the only one that had been like, that's a dog man. And everybody else had been like, no, that's a werewolf.
Or you'd be standing there alone and the rest of them have already run.
Right. I'd be like, wait for me. Yeah, so they've had sightings there. That's kind of interesting because that was seen there. The UFO was seen. I saw that UFO there.
Yes, yes.
And some people think that this is a theory that dogmen come from UFOs. Mm-hmm. So I'm sure maybe somebody will run with that one right there. So I was like, UFOs, dogmen, maybe connected, maybe not. It's a mystery yet to be solved.
That's right. That's why we do these things, right?
Yep, exactly.
We're looking for those kinds of answers and connectivity, and you never know.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, you're fine.
Like I said, it's the only thing I can't get rid of is the itchy throat. So. Oh, I had a question and I just completely forgot it. I have jail questions here. We talked about the jail. I do have jail questions I can ask. You told us how you got involved with the jail. That was one question. Is there a certain spirit that is there that has a sadder story than another to you?
Wow, I just the nature of the beast is, sad in itself, that what we're dealing with are people that have, for one way, shape, or form, have found themselves incarcerated. I think, wow, I have a special place in my heart for Annie. We know her story, only because there holds so many of those open questions that I don't think we'll ever be able to get answers to. Given the time, 1880s, a single, never been married. She's 22. Was she in love with this guy? Did he just take her for a ride? Did he violate her? Some conjecture, could she have possibly been pregnant? I mean, did he tell her he loved her? Those things all kind of tug at your heart, thinking she'd been played. And then steps right into this. Were they just trying to run away together? That just kind of breaks your heart. But then for him to decide that neither one of them were going to make it, and make that decision to take both their lives, it just breaks my heart. So I have to say there's a deep attachment there. And we do feel that we contact Annie a lot. So she's a very frequent visitor when we go there. But I think she's curious, too, of young people, young women, when she sees hair color and jewelry, and she tends to gravitate to the females like a curiosity, Mm-hmm. So we try to have those. So I think we've talked about that. Have those, just sit there and talk, have those conversations, talk about men and sex and those things that she would never, I'm sure, consider doing in her day and age, regardless of who was sitting there. And I think that draws her out. So, but yeah, I think my attachment, and that what I feel is the saddest story is Annie's.
I know the one night that we were there, you did the flashlights, and she was communicating a lot. And then I don't remember who asked, but one of us asked, "Were you pregnant?" and she completely quit communicating.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and we have our, you have to have your conjectures on that. It just seems such a terrible decision for her to make, and love makes us do stupid things. We know that. I just hope she truly was in love. It may have, not ended well, but I hope she had that experience. And all is said and done, I hope she had that experience. But yeah, we wonder. We really do wonder.
I know she's one of my favorites to communicate with there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then the guy upstairs, I first encountered him in solitary the first time I was ever there.
Sure.
It's the black gentleman that was. I don't remember his name. I never remember his name. But I remember the conversation that the first time I was there, it was Obama had just been elected.
Sure.
And I was using a K2 communique. I said, and he was answering, he was lighting it up for yes and no. And I remember asking, do you believe there's a black president now? And he would not answer that question. I said, do you believe there's a white president? And he lit it up. And so I was talking to him about Obama being in office and how things have changed and how my kids are biracial. And he was communicating more with me than the lady I was with. And I always try to talk to him.
Sure.
So he kind of holds a place there for me, but I also talk to Annie.
Sure.
I don't remember his name. Do you remember? Pete. Yeah.
Pete.
And
yes.
Was he taken outside and lynched? Is he the one?
Yes. Yes, he
That's
was.
What I thought.
Yeah. Yes, he was.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's the two I tend to communicate with. I've had on an EVP, I've heard the sheriff say, I'm the sheriff. I've heard a woman in there. There's all kinds of things we hear and see in there. I just love it there. So that's all I can say. It's a 12 on a 10 on a scale of 10.
What's neat and corroborating here is when you say talking about having the sheriff being mentioned, the group before last had an EVP of the sheriff is coming, a voice saying the sheriff is coming. So it's mentioned in there. When Dave was there with his group, Dave acted more of the tough jailer kind. He had the old keys and was just trying to chew that persona. And they got a lot of the jargon that would be used, calling him boss, which is not something you hear in this day and age. So you get the layers of the history as to, okay, who are we communicating with? Who would have referred to the jailer as boss? And what time period could we possibly be in? So it's kind of cool. Yeah, we do get some pretty good EVPs in there.
I like his stories about there. I think it's really interesting. Yeah. I told him when he said he was going there, I said, you will not be disappointed. Because I had met him at a conference in Ohio. Our tables were beside of each other. And when I found out he was going there, I was like, oh, you won't be disappointed. So.
Yeah, we enjoyed having them.
My next question is, we talked about the most active spirits. Do they come and go? Do they stay pretty steady? Or like we talked about earlier, I wanted to compare certain times of the year. Do you notice anything about maybe spring, say Annie's more active, or in the fall she might be, or around the time that she was killed? Have you noticed anything like that?
They're definitely not always there. And then there are times that they're more than we've expected, having more interaction with several at a time. For example, Mary and I being there just this past weekend was not an exceptionally busy session for us. What could have made that happen? I'm not sure. We also notice when we bring in new things, it takes them a while to warm up. I don't know if they're frightened of when we had this, we, of course, you try not to come stomping in with it. You try to be more subtle and place things as you're talking. making it I know people think we're absolutely nuts. Not only are we talking to inanimate objects, but we're play acting like we've just come in to visit you in your home, so I'm setting this over here. And rather than, when I'm saying you roll, so you see some of these groups come in and they just roll in with their stuff and they're setting everything up. And then I think you've scared the hell out of them. So why would they want to be talking to you? Take it a notch down and try to be a little more subtle. So, but I do notice that when we had, for example, we had the gyroscope we tried from Paranologies, and it took a little while to start getting some sort of reaction for anything. Generally we could come in there, it's just us, and put up whether it's the REM pods or the flashlights or whatever we decide to have them communicate with, and it's a pretty quick exchange. And it was a little more this time. So we have noticed that on different occasions when we've had different equipment come in. So I think it takes them a little like, hey, wait a minute, now what is this? The whole reassurance, nothing will hurt you or harm you. We would absolutely never do that to you. And you have to kind of get that comfort zone again. So
it does seem that it takes a little while for them to warm up to you. Like I was really surprised that no came across that quick. But maybe it's because I had been there before. And they're like, oh, she's back. Great. Like her again. I'm sure she's got all kinds of questions.
So you see, Marianne and I go in there and we pre-warn them. That gal Jen's coming back here tonight. So
So be on your best behavior.
We actually go through and say, okay, guys, you're going to have visitors tonight. You can come out and talk to us. And we will give a little, pep talk as we go through the jail and get things opened. We try.
Yeah, it does. It takes a little while, but once you get them going and they open up to you, it's fabulous.
It is. It really is.
And I've had people, and this was on a private investigation. The lady's son said, I demand you do this.
No.
I said, if they would pick that K2 up and chuck it at you, I wouldn't be mad. I said, because you don't speak to them. You don't demand that they do anything. I said, think about it. I said, if somebody told you, I demand you do this or that, what would you do? Well, I wouldn't do it. I said, then why would you do this to someone? I said, the only difference is they're not here and alive.
Exactly.
I said, they passed over.
Sure.
And
why do we think? Oh, sure. I mean, why do we think we have the right to intrude on whatever plane they are existing on, that we have the right to be there in their face, however the interaction happens? I'm always wanting to ask permission first and then be grateful. Say thank you for doing this. Love to have the exchange, have that whole, you need to help us because we can't, however you want to call playing it stupid. Said, hey, we can't see or hear you. You really need to help us out. That's why we have these items and good gadgets to help communicate. If it does, by all means, let us know by making the light up, or so you open the communication. But it's an extension of respect.
It is.
Yeah,
it truly is. I know I've had my hair touched, and I've asked that it wasn't there, but it was somewhere else. Had my hair pulled. And I said, can you not do that? And they did it again.
Sure.
And sometimes it's like messing with a kid. You got to tell them no. So I think this was a guy. This was up in South Bend somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And, well, at the Old State Theater. That's
okay. Sure.
But that's a whole nother story. Yeah, that's a great place too. I do have an EVP from there, and I did play it for you guys before, but not on here. I played it to you when I saw you.
Sure.
I'm hoping you can hear it, because it's really weird. You can hear it on my phone, but when I put it on a speaker, you can't hear it.
Okay. Let's give it a try.
I'll try to play this. Could you hear that?
I could catch something.
It's a real gruff voice.
Yes. Oh, okay. What getting it better, but I can't quite make it out.
I can't either. And if I play, you can't. I don't know what they're saying. It's really growly and gruff. On one hand, it kind of sounds like it says hi there, but then it doesn't sound like it.
Sure. Well, that's interesting.
Yeah. But
that's really interesting.
And I would play it on my speaker, but it just won't work with the speaker. You can't hear it at all, which I think is really odd too.
That is odd. Yeah.
And I'm going to try to cut it, figure out how to do that on my phone. So I can cut it and I'll send it to you guys.
We'd appreciate that, sure.
Yeah. Just 1 second.
No problem. Yeah, if anybody gets a chance, we do have on our Facebook page, Dave's and SOS Society of the Supernatural, when they were there for that 2-night stay, their sessions with the SLS camera. They've captured a number of things. It's kind of interesting. I know it's long, but if you'd like to listen to that stuff, we'll put it out there. But yeah, they had a lot of fun.
I like his story of them banging on the end of his cell for a jail guard.
Sure.
I like that.
Dave Weatherly then had, he slept in the one cell that has the mannequin. He had moved the mannequin, of course, and he was on that particular bed. And he said he felt what he thought was the coming across, like time to get up, about that 4:30, 5 o'clock time. And then he said he heard what he wasn't sure if it said nookie or looky. And he wasn't going to ask for a clarification of that because it made him just a little nervous. But
he could have heard looky. We can have some nookie.
But he said it did make him sit up. But that was funny. Yeah, they had quite a few experiences.
Yeah, it's just an amazing place. I recommend it to everybody. It's like, oh, I want somewhere to go. I'm like, go to the jail in Warsaw.
It's easy to get to, and we're not too hard to work with. We try to be accommodating, but yeah, I think it's definitely worth a shot. I would go there if I were looking for a place. That's what got us started.
I like it there. I do have some fun questions for you.
Sure.
1 second. Do you have a favorite paranormal show?
Oh my.
Or do you have favorites?
No, actually, I steer away from a lot of them. I would much rather watch a good historical with some background. I'm not crazy about many of the shows. I used to love Josh Gates when he did more of the paranormal. I do like his Expedition Unknown, where he goes to these places and finds things. So that's not generally paranormal, but I don't particularly care for them. I just think they're so hyped up. And after talking to so many people that have actually worked with the different producers and shows and networks and what they're told that they have to do or what's expected of them and what they need to do to embellish their stories. And I just really have lost all respect for what you're seeing on TV. I guess the biggest eye-opener came to us when Dead Files was putting on the story about the, although they did the Little Barbie Hotel, they contacted the Historical Society for information on the background of the murder that supposedly took place. They stretched that from something that took place more than 20 miles away to make it interact with the Barbie Hotel to enhance the story. Now, we were all excited because the three of us had actually had involvement in some way, shape, or form with gathering that information. We were actually on an investigation the night that show was airing, and we turned the TV on at the house we were in because they'd given the house to us to do our thing, to watch the show. And funny enough, while the show was going on, we had the most activity. But we stood there dumbfounded. It was just such okay, no, that's not what was the information that was provided to them, and how it all worked and came together. And I had up until that point a rather healthy respect for dead files in the process that they went through. You know, the way that they formulated their stuff and put it together. And I lost it from there. I just like, well, so I guess the short answer, I don't watch them. I might pick up on a location just to see where they're going. That's more what interests me. I don't know. I try not to be extremely critical, but no, I guess I kind of like kindred spirits. We like Amy and Adam. I only like the camaraderie they have between each other, but they're really not giving much of a, I don't know, it just doesn't have that oomph to keep the show.
Yeah.
To keep the show going. I'm afraid of that. I do like the way they go again with the historical. They like to get the background. They like to get the information, and they're getting all that, down so that they understand what's happening. But boy, sometimes that stretch just to make it work for the location just seems to kill it. Yeah.
I know there's someone that we both know, and they have done shows, and she has said it wasn't the same as the story that she had told.
Right.
There's also a it's not Monsters and Mysteries. It's another one of those cryptid shows. It's called The Wolf Pack. About dogmen, and they, what's the word I'm looking for? They embellished what really happened there. And they said that there was balls of light that came, and then the dogmen appeared in a pack. And the people said that it didn't happen. There was no balls of light. So just another get your attention.
Right.
Get going. Just like with heading towards the more negative on shows now to get more ratings, like we were talking about.
Sure.
And personally, I would rather watch something that's more fact-based.
Yes, indeed.
I didn't know if that came out right with my cold.
Oh, it did.
But I mean, yeah, embellishing is good for ratings, but when you go to look for it or talk to these people, they're like, no, that didn't happen that way. Right. So do you believe what they're telling you or what you saw on TV?
Right.
So, 1 second.
Sure.
So I understand where you're coming from. Now, you were talking about the Barbie Hotel. What is the history that you know of it? I understood that a lady was killed there that was pregnant. And we heard somebody running down the hall when we were there saying he's going to kill me. And there was no way she could have came up, and the exit door was locked at the end of the hall.
I'm not, okay, well, first of all, there's no verifiable proof that anybody was murdered there.
Okay.
All of it is basically urban legend. The murder that they were talking about on Dead Files actually happened on a farm. Again, it was 18, 20 miles away. How they tried to stretch it to say that this was the angry spirit that was causing these issues at the hotel. We were just flabbergasted. So there's been no verifiable murders. What's his name? The gangster stayed there. They talk about the cigar smoke. Okay, well, I'm not necessarily, it sounds great to have some historical figure be there, but, we never had anything happen. And now, after following that show, it's almost ridiculous to try to get in there and what they tried to charge or have you be responsible for in order for you to do any kind of investigating. Besides that, they're like a sports bar downstairs, so they go on until, if you do a weekend, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning is nothing, that they're still going loud and proud. And unless you want to start at that time, you're really not going to be very productive. So it's a smaller venue too, because you almost have the upstairs over the bar area, which is the hotel section of it. So not to say that there isn't activity. I mean, obviously, all these places can hold residual energies of some sort. So who we're getting or who you may have heard, I don't know who that is, but there's been no verifiable murders or deaths there that anybody can bring proof of. So I don't know who that would be.
Yeah, that's what I heard. I know.
Sure.
I can tell you this, I'm not a Dead Files fan.
Mm-hmm.
And I know Clarissa's like, I know you don't like the show. And it's one of my least favorite out there. But I also heard that they came back and supposedly cleansed and got rid of everything that was there. Did you hear that story too?
Yeah, but interestingly enough, then they opened back up again for ghost hunting after they said that they were going to shut it down.
See, I
Yeah.
had called a while back and I haven't heard from her, and I asked if we could get back in. And she hasn't called me back.
Be interested to see what happens from here on. I mean, they had, I don't know, they raised controversy then in the neighborhood too about bringing the stuff out, and a lot of people did not appreciate the fact that they took it upon themselves to have it cleansed. So we basically stayed away from it since then. So I have not spoken to anybody or tried to contact them in any way to go forward in any direction, just to let it be. So I can't answer any more than that.
Yeah, I didn't know what you had heard. I've heard these rumors, so.
Sure. Yeah, I can't say it's I'd heard the same, I guess, is the best I can tell you. But then I also heard they were going back. So if you had cleansed it, why are you going back again for trying to sell it? You know.
I agree.
I think they had hoped that would bring them some sort of a renewed interest in ghost hunting there, but I'm not so sure now. So but it remains one of those urban legends. You know, it still remains as one. Well, we talk about Kosciuszko County, they talk about the Barbie Hotel, and you just go, why? You know, I mean, okay, it could be a spot, but you can't give me anything to go on. So that's a little tough to swallow.
Now, we have talked about when we've actually in person, we talked about the pound store. Now, that is an interesting place too, and I would like to get back into that. I know that was one of the first places I investigated locally.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually felt a little girl's hand in mine, and she would communicate with me with the K2. And I would love to go back there.
We've opened that up for discussion, and they're not going in that direction. I'm not saying it's not going to be possible, but that's also covered by the board of directors at the historical societies in charge of that. So we're trying, maybe slowly move in that direction again. But yeah, right now they're not allowing anybody up there. Not quite sure of all the reasons either, but we're slowly, hopefully, wearing them down. So maybe that will happen in the future.
Let me know.
Oh, absolutely.
Be the first one to book it after you guys.
Absolutely.
There's so much history around the area over there.
Yes. Yes, there is.
And Greg's tour gives a lot of history too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You would never guess things like that happen there.
Oh, sure.
Now, we talked about the jail. Can you let everyone know how much it costs to investigate and
sure.
the maximum number of people that's allowed there?
Absolutely. We have what we call like two different types of programs. One, you can come in for a couple of hours. We generally set it for 8 to 10 p.m. on a Friday or Saturday night. It only costs $10 a person. We'll have some equipment there. And again, it's more a little talk, demonstration. We'll take them out in the bullpen and let them hopefully have some sort of an experience, we hope. But they can see the equipment and get an idea of what is used and how it's used. And like I said, it's only 8 to 10. We limit any of these to 10 people. That's set by the board of directors as far as the number of people that can be allowed. Now, for the longer, again, it could be either Friday or Saturday night. That goes from 9 p.m. till 2 a.m. That is, it's $100 to get 4 people, up to 4 people. If 1, 2, 3, or 4, it's $100 to open the door and get you in. If you have more than 4 people, it's $25 per person thereafter. So if there's 6 of you, it's $150. You'll have the place again from 9 till 2. We'll give you a run through. We encourage everybody, if they're around, to come during the day. the old jail is open even on Saturday mornings. They can come take a walk through, see where you're going to be. But we'll give them a run through where they could be through the residence. It's a 3-story residence. That's 2-story jail. You've got the run of the place. Keeping, we hope, in mind that it is a working museum. So, be respectful of that. But it's inexpensive. If things are really hopping, we won't cut you down at 2. If things are going on. And yeah, we're just as excited to hear and see what you've gotten as you're getting it yourself. So we're kind of lax in that direction. So that's basically it in a nutshell.
Yeah, I like to go to places that we're going to investigate during the day and do the walkthrough and a tour, and then compare it to what it's like at night. When we went to West Virginia, it was literally like night and day. It was really calm during the day.
Sure.
And it was peaceful. I can't imagine what it was like back then when it was open as a jail or a prison. Well, it was very peaceful. You didn't feel like you were going to be attacked, that nobody was following you. But let me tell you, with the lights on at night,
it's a whole different world.
Oh, it's a whole different ballgame.
Yes, indeed.
I mean, you can have all the lights on you want, but there's stuff around at night. And I'm 100% sure you know what I'm talking about.
We had an exciting time there. We did a 2-night at Moundsville, and that was crazy. Our 2 big times or places, the solitary, the cage effect was just, I mean, that in itself, where they had it all caged off. So when you were in the main, I guess where they would eat at the table, you could hear things all around, and was this like constant, ongoing disruption up in stairs in the, I guess it would be the psych ward, where they kept those that needed a little more attention because of their instability. I guess there's 3 places, and then downstairs where RD was killed. We got our best EVP from there. He told us to go F ourselves. Just as clear as could be. Yeah. We were asking him to, it was getting, we went, it was warm. I'm a warm person anyway. Now there's just there are 3 gals, my sister, my niece, and I, downstairs, and that, you had those areas cutouts. We were in the second one. I guess there was a furnace or something in that first one. I'm not sure. But those little rooms that went in the back, and this is where he was supposedly murdered. Yeah. And there were chairs set up, and my sister and I had the audio recorder between us. And all of a sudden I got this chill, and I said, "Okay, RD, can you give us another sign that you're here other than making it cold?" And of course I didn't hear it, but we did hear what sounded like a chair moving in the other area. But just as clear in the EVP, it said, "Go F yourself."
That's funny.
Maybe I didn't want to hear that when I was sitting right there, but yeah, he was pretty succinct about that one.
And when we were there, we didn't have any activity in that area, but upstairs where they had the x-ray machines and the dental offices, and I think that might be psych up there too.
I think you're right. I think it's that whole area is like the medical ward, if you will.
You go up one side and go back down the other.
Yes, yes.
There was about 10 of us in our group that had went, and there was a group in there before that was taunting, and they pissed something off.
Oh boy! The
one girl was standing there looking in the room with the x-rays, and I said, "Are you okay?" And she just stood there. And I said, "Well," she goes, "There's something in there." I said, "Well, go in." She goes, "No." And she just broke down crying. And the other lady that used to be on my team, we got her moving. I got a hold of her, and we got this girl trying to get her out of the area. And something walked through her, my old teammate. She grabbed my shoulder right here, and she put so much pressure on it, I thought we were both going to fall.
Oh, wow.
And she does not remember a thing. And then downstairs, where the old entrance was, that spinning entrance, that's like a round cage. One of the other ladies that was with us, we were, there was me and my old teammate, then the one lady and her son-in-law. we were all standing there looking at the entrance and how it would have worked. And if you go down that hallway past that, they have those little medical rooms. And then at the end of that is where the chow hall is.
Yes.
Right across the hall.
Yes.
Well, she starts walking down through there, and we always said to stay with twos. And I was walking behind her talking, and she just kept going. And I started yelling her name, and she just kept walking, and I kept yelling her name, and she wouldn't turn around, she wouldn't answer me. I thought, well, maybe she sees her daughter.
Sure.
And then and then I went back and joined them at the entrance, and she comes back and she's like, I said, where did you go? She goes, oh, I was following Kathy. I said, Kathy's been here the whole time. She goes, no, she wasn't. She goes, I was following her. She goes, I said, no, you weren't. She's been here the whole time. She goes, well, it was somebody with long blonde hair. I said, Sharon, there was nobody in front of you. So
interesting.
Yeah, that's the creepy stories from West Virginia.
Sure.
But it's an interesting place.
It is, definitely.
And they actually, did you hear that they're having their second annual conference there this year in July?
Oh, no, I didn't.
Yeah. July 21st, I believe.
Okay.
So that's a new thing. They just started it last year. So maybe next year we'll go.
It's been a while since we were there. They were working on is it the museum that's across the street, the mound itself, the base of the mound?
Okay.
There's a museum or something that they were working on. It wasn't open when we were there. That would be about the one thing we wanted to see and didn't. But I will tell you one of the experience that we had. We had heard about a temple up in the mountain. And I don't remember all the detail, except my sister said we needed to drive, and I'm always, game for anything. We went out looking the first night we were there, and it was getting too dark, too late, and those mountain roads are just.
Oh, they're all.
We went the next day before we actually left the area, before we headed home, and again the mountain roads, even in the daytime, we hit one section that was like a washout. And I said, "Are you sure?" We came up over this hill, and all of a sudden there is this golden temple.
Really?
It was just like that. It was like you stepped into the 70s. The top of this temple is laid out. We went in to check it out. They do tours. No cameras or anything. You had to remove your shoes and yada yada. But they were busing in people to come see this. Now they had the name of I'm really bad with the deities of India, but this was a gentleman that was Maharashi. I don't know what you would call them as far as what their we have presidents and queens and kings. I don't know what his stature was, but there were people that came in after us that were genuflecting in front of him, and they were leaving offerings, something. This was his temple. Again, didn't know the history. We were kind of surprised us. The inlay on these walls, the peacock's feathers, the work was unbelievable, just unbelievable. The rose gardens outside were just phenomenal. This is in the middle of flat out. Where the hell are we in West Virginia? And this just shows up. Down the hill from here is like a open commune. You saw these families that would have stepped right out of the blonde hair, blue-eyed, wearing the white flowing robes. The children were little blonde-haired girls wearing the little flowing robes, and there were peacocks wandering around. And I thought, are we on an acid trip or something? Where did this come from? The pond on the one side, and they had a communal table. And I looked at my sister, I don't suppose you can buy a Coke in there someplace. I mean, they had the water. I swore they were digging it up from a well. But you could, it was like, make a donation. You could join them for their meal. They had these brewing pots on the side. It was, oh my goodness. I mean, it was the most remarkable thing I'd ever seen. I've got pictures someplace. I'll have to dig them out and bring them with me the next time you guys come and show you. This is what we stumbled upon. trying to get some of the history there. Of course, now we're leaving the area, so we didn't have enough to really to look into it. But apparently it was a real estate deal that the area really didn't appreciate, knowing that this was coming in, because it is religious based, and they weren't quite happy with that religion. But anyway, it was what a place. Unbelievable.
We went for a drive there, and we were gone for 3 hours with no cell service.
No, yes.
So
Indeed.
it was just like twisting and turning and left and right, and I'm surprised we didn't end up in Pennsylvania.
It's amazing. I can understand.
We ended up coming by the river and a power plant, and we just followed that and had cell service and followed that back into town.
Sure.
We were gone for probably 3-4 hours.
Oh, I can believe it. I can believe it easily enough. Yeah, what an area.
It is. It's it's something else. I know you talked about going to conferences and stuff this year. We won't go over that anymore. Are you looking for any new team members, or do you accept new team members?
We never actually operated as the team. It was always been a family thing. So I guess that we don't want to sound snooty or anything to that effect. So it was easier for us. We'd all eat, sleep together, because it didn't make any difference, because we were all family. You just hop in the van. The big joke was I could be ready in 15 minutes to go anywhere. So I always had the bag packed. So we don't, I guess, the short answer is no, because we don't, we have individuals that work with us. One is the genealogist from the Historical Society. And then we have a young couple that comes with us, because God knows we need the young people to help carry all that equipment. Going up and down those stairs is just killer. And I don't really want to be one of the spirits they're looking for, because I can't make it up and down the steps. But so, and those have just come to us as offshoots from our children. So now that our children have basically gone on their own, unless they're in town or nearby, or we're going in their location, they will accompany us. So we keep it very small for the most part anymore. It's just Marianne and I that are actually doing investigations outside of the jail. So yeah, I guess it sounds kind of snooty. We're not a team. Really never have been. It's always been family.
Sorry, I had a cough again.
You're fine. You're fine.
Yeah, I had wondered about that myself, because I know I just see the two of you everywhere. When we get together, it's just the two of you. And I didn't know if you look for team members, or if, people may be like, hey, these ladies are pretty cool, so I wonder if they need a team member.
Well, and by all means, we're heading someplace and you're there, or it's someplace you've been or something. We would certainly, talk to you and say, hey, what do you think? The three of us go do something. And that, most is certainly a possibility at any time. And we have done that on occasion, but it's not like, oh, we're suddenly now Barb, Marianne, and Jenn, kind of thing. We just left it at the family level, I guess. So, yeah, when we first started this out, we wanted to have that snappy little name. We came up with NIPS. We were the original. I had the Hotmail account and I had the .com, because that was our nips.com. www.nips. Northern Indiana, paranormal, little play on words, sisters. And it was more of a jokey kind of thing. And then we realized, there was more to this that we really wanted to put into it. And that's when we turned it around to being more of the research and studies, as opposed to just the, TAPS kind of family offshoot. Besides that, the guys wouldn't wear their shirts. They didn't like the nips. But we got a lot of jokes about that too. We got a couple of, I actually had guys from Ohio. They wanted the T-shirt just to say I hunted with nips, or it was kind of cute. So we moved away from that. That's probably as close as we came to being team oriented. So yeah, right now it's just basically the two of us with an occasional person on the side. But we do have a wonderful young couple. They're friends of a friend of my son's and her boyfriend. and they're level-headed. They're very much into it. They're great to travel with, and like I said, their young legs help carry a lot of stuff for us. So we appreciate that very much. They're also resilient, and they'll put up with us. So we have to keep that in perspective.
I know I've became stricter on my team roles and who can join.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And I think I've had to do that. So
I can understand that. It's tough. It really is. You can't say it's not going to be political. In some way, shape, or form, it has to be. It has to be structured. When you have other outside forces, my sister and I can get mad at each other. We work it out, and then you're done and over with it. You could have conflicting personalities. You could have conflicting ideas and how things are done. What do you do when you're gathering equipment? What are you doing when you're maybe monies are being put in, who gets what, where? I mean, it gets very complicated. We've tried to steer away from that. I'm not trying to discourage anybody from joining groups. I think that's wonderful if that's your thing. It never did work for us. So that's why we stick with what worked for us. And we've been enjoying it all along.
And I like the way you guys work together. There's another team that I really like too. SCI, the Southern Indiana Ghost Hunters. They work really well together as well. And they've been a team for quite some time too.
Sure.
So, but and if somebody would like a private investigation,
mm-hmm.
How would they contact you?
Well, we're all over. If you look at either the Facebook page or our WIPRS.com web address, that number posted, that is my personal cell. That again, it's all over. So if anybody needs to contact us, they can just put in Warsaw Paranormal, and my name will pop up. And feel free, they can contact us by email, zip a message through Facebook, or right through the webpage itself, and we'll get back with them.
All right. Do you have any questions for me? We've talked almost 2 hours.
No, my goodness, we've just been going right along, haven't we?
Yeah.
No, I can't right at this time. I'm looking forward to the times we're going to be sharing, though. Always fun again to have you at the jail. I'm looking forward to this, working with Greg and you, and the prospect there coming in the fall. That's going to be fun.
Yeah,
I'd like to see us do more of that. Maybe we'll see how that all goes, and maybe we can institute some more times and dates. That would be great.
Yeah, it would. And part of that for those goes, how do I want to say this? It's getting late. I can't talk. Part of the ticket will go towards the jail. A percentage of the profit from the tickets does go towards the jail.
That they'll just love it, sure.
And I know I like the jail. I'm going to bring the kids over for a daytime look at it too.
Just remember, it's Wednesday to Saturday.
Okay.
As far as the jail itself being open during the daytime. They're open at 10. They close at 4. That kind of cuts the day short. But they're open on Saturdays the same. So if you get a chance to go over, take advantage of it.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on again.
Oh, it was really nice talking to you. We enjoy it. Like I said, one thing I like just a little less than ghost hunting is actually talking about it. So.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on. I'm going to go ahead and stop the broadcast. And if you want to hang out for a minute, I can talk to you when we get done.
Sure. Thanks for having us, Jen.
Okay. Thank you. You guys have a good night.
You too.
And you can check out the show on Sunday. I will have Alicia Morgan on here. She has had so many experiences. Her son had a demonic encounter, and she's going to try to get him to come on. It was a little girl that would hang out in his closet. She's had lots of ghost stories. She's had dogman sightings, and there's something she can't quite figure out what it was.
Okay.
So
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting show. So
sounds like it.
Everybody come check us out on Sunday at 9:00, and have a good rest of the week, and we'll see you then.
Bye now.
Bye.